Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Swachh Bharat. Coming up in the next hour. Tensions rise in West Asia as Iran fires missiles at Israel. Netanyahu says Iran made a big mistake. Tehran says any retaliation to be met with vast destruction. India says it is deeply concerned as tensions rise in West Asia, issues advisory to its nationals to avoid unnecessary travel to Israel and Iran. US vice presidential candidates J.D. Vance and Tim Walz debate issues from immigration and abortion to economy and gun control. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges people to keep strengthening the cleanliness mission, participates in Swachh Bharat 2024. Over 200 dead in Nepal floods. In India's Bihar too, nearly 1.2 million people affected. In view of the prevailing situation in West Asia, Indian Embassy in Tel Aviv has advised Indian nationals in Israel to stay vigilant and adhere to the safety protocols as advised by local authorities. The embassy has requested them to exercise caution, avoid unnecessary travel within the country and stay close to safety shelters. Meanwhile, the embassy is closely monitoring the situation and is in regular touch with the Israeli authorities to ensure safety of all Indian nationals. People can contact 24/7 helpline of the embassy at +97 25 475 20711 and +97 25 432 78392 and can also email at cons1.telaviv@meagov.in. India has issued travel advisory for its nationals regarding Iran. Indian nationals are advised to avoid all non-essential travel to Iran. Those currently residing in Iran are requested to remain vigilant and stay in contact with the Indian embassy in Tehran. India is closely monitoring the recent escalation in security situation in the region. The prospect of a direct all-out war between two of the most powerful militaries in West Asia became more likely after Iran fired roughly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel, drawing strong reaction from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said Iran made a big mistake and will pay for it. DD India's Ayushi Bhatnagar has more on this.
Rockets lit up the skies over Jerusalem on Tuesday after Iran fired a salvo of nearly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. This comes days after Israel killed leader of Iran-backed Hezbollah and later sent troops into Lebanon. Israel said it intercepted more than 180 missiles. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns of retaliation after Iran's attack, also vowed to give a befitting reply to whoever attacks Israel.
Iran made a big mistake tonight, and it will pay for it. The regime in Iran does not understand our determination to defend ourselves and our determination to retaliate against our enemies. Sinwar and Deif didn't understand it. Nasrallah and Mosul didn't understand it. Apparently, there are those in Tehran who do not understand this either. They will understand. We will keep to the rule we have determined. Whoever attacks us, we attack them.
Meanwhile, Iran said its missile attacks on Israel were over, but also promised a crushing response if Israel retaliated. Iran has cancelled flights across the country until Wednesday, 8:30 GMT.
If the Zionist regime that has gone crazy is not controlled by America and Europe and wants to continue these crimes or wants to do anything against our sovereignty and territorial integrity, tonight's operation will be repeated several times stronger and all their infrastructure will be targeted.
Washington said it would work with long-term ally Israel to ensure Iran faced severe consequences for Tuesday's attack. The Pentagon said US Navy warships fired about a dozen interceptors against Iranian missiles headed toward Israel and that there was minimal damage on the ground. Pentagon also said Tuesday's airstrikes were about twice the size of April's assault. US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin spoke with his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant. In a post on X, Austin said both countries are committed to remain in close contact with each other. US President Joe Biden also reaffirmed his country's support for Israel and described the barrage as defeated and ineffective. He ordered the US military to aid Israel's defense against any future assaults. US called on every nation in the world to condemn Iran's attack on Israel. Many leaders from across the world also voiced their condemnation against Iran's recent attack. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Japan's new Prime Minister said that Iran's attacks were unacceptable. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres appealed for an immediate ceasefire in Lebanon. India's External Affairs Ministry also expressed deep concern at the escalating security situation in West Asia and urged for diplomacy and dialogue. In the wake of the rising tensions, United Nations Security Council has called an emergency meeting on West Asia on Wednesday at around 1400 GMT. The European Union called for an immediate ceasefire. Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon voiced strong reaction against Iran's unprecedented assault on Israel. Amidst rising conflict between Israel and Iran, flights scheduled to head through Iranian airspace were diverted. Bureau Report, DD India.
And tensions in West Asia are on the boil, especially when it comes to what happened between Israel and Iran. And to discuss more on it, I've been joined by Ambassador Anil Kumar Trigunayat, former senior diplomat. Sir, thank you so much, first of all, for joining in on the broadcast. Let me begin with what Benjamin Netanyahu said. Iran made a big mistake tonight and it will pay for it. On one hand, Israel vows response to the missile attack by Iran, and on the other hand, Iran says that if Israel retaliates, then it would be met with vast destruction. Do you see a possibility of broadening of the conflict in the region?
Well, I think that now they are really reaching the threshold. Everybody is trying that this war does not escalate further, and there is this messaging that Iran has tried to give, and it had to give. Because after Ismail Haniyeh's death, you know that Iran maintained the strategic patience when he was killed in Tehran itself. And thereafter, we have seen that removal of all the leadership by Israel of Hezbollah, which is the closest ally of Iran and a part of the axis of resistance. So it was all expected that Iran will have to retaliate because there was a growing disconcert within the country and about Iran's capability to deter any of the things from Israel or its enemies. I think that that was one of the main reasons that it had to do that. But it has said that it was in order to take revenge. But then Israel, which is currently basically is having is on this victory swing in a way, in the immediate neighborhood, is also not going to sit back, and it'll retaliate. Now, we have seen in April this kind of tit for tat, and whether this retaliation goes beyond the threshold, then in that case, Iran will also be forced to, I think, escalate it further. At the moment, it looks like that there will be, because everybody is saying that we'll take revenge at our own time and place of choosing and all that. But definitely the tensions are very high, and this is something that from the very beginning, October 7 onwards, the whole world has been trying to avoid this kind of a regional escalation, which will be disastrous for the region and for various countries, including India.
Okay, sir, so you were saying that Iran's attack was very much on the cards.
Yes, of course. I mean, I anticipated it. It had been quite some time because the reason is Iran was persuaded not to attack. Well, it was, of course, doing it indirectly, number one. So those three proxies, Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, were in fact working on its behalf. So that Iran very well knows that attacking there was going to be definitely. And here it talks about Iran has not admitted to killing Ismail Haniyeh in Israel, in Iran. But everybody knows about it, in fact, that it is implicit. And therefore, they were waiting for a right time, and now Hezbollah. The problem is that this was probably to assuage the feeling within the country, and also to convey a message to Israel that Iran is not going to take it lightly. But the problem is that both are major powers, and once they get into this, the whole region will conflagrate.
You talked about the axis of resistance. One of the components of axis of resistance, Houthis, is also ramping up its attacks in the Red Sea. 2 vessels are reportedly damaged. Hezbollah is also retaliating. Conflict with Hamas is also intensifying. Is the entire axis of resistance is on a retaliatory mode?
Yeah, in the beginning, in fact, if you remember, that
and if so, then what could be the possible implications?
Well, in the beginning, if you remember that Iran has an undue advantage, rather I would say asymmetric advantage, because of its proxies that it has created basically around Israel. And since Israel and Iran don't have the boundaries together, I mean, that's the reason that these proxies, especially Hezbollah, is a very strong body. But today, their whole leadership has been decapitated by Israeli strikes. So therefore, they are in a bit of a disorderly fashion at the moment, may not be able to have a very coordinating fight, but they will continue to fire missiles and drones and all that on Israelis. And you will see Houthis also, which is a very dangerous proposition because the Houthis are controlling currently Bab el-Mandab and the Red Sea. And the whole, we have seen in the last few months, that the shipping lanes have been restricted, and they are also sending missiles and attacking on Israel directly from their Houthis. And of course, it is said that they are Iranian missiles with them. And then Hamas is still not completely finished; it is still very much there. So therefore, the whole world is hoping that the invasion of Lebanon could be avoided beyond a certain point under section of UN Security Council 1701 up to the Litani River. And then there could be some kind of buffer zone that Israel could be able to create. But if the war goes on between Iran and Israel, then we are looking at a much greater and much dangerous escalation.
Sir, Washington has pledged its ironclad support for Israel. And Iran's armed forces said direct intervention by Israel's supporters against Tehran would provoke a strong attack from Iran on their bases and interests in the region. What is your assessment on this?
Well, there is no doubt that US's primary foreign policy concern has been security and safety of Israel, the right of Israel to defend itself, for which US can go to any extent. And even this time, yesterday, that we saw that many of the missiles were shot down were essentially in Jordanian airspace where the US base is there. The US has many bases in the region, in the Arab world, basically, and also in Turkey. So which can be all used for this purpose, to deflect and to counter the Iranian attacks. But despite that, we saw that several of the missiles were able to penetrate. Now, there is no denying the fact that US, which has already deployed several ships and additional troops are being sent, and more, so we'll be countering Iranian attacks and strikes, but in that case, we'll have to see how much the Russians or the Chinese are going to get into it. Of course, that will all decide the way the whole world, which way the Western theater is going to play out. So it's a very difficult situation.
Okay, sir. One possibility is that Israel now carries out airstrikes on Iran, perhaps targeting sites used for its nuclear program. Do you think?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, basically, Iran has been, Israel's basic premise has been that Iran should not acquire a nuclear weapon. So then Iran's nuclear facilities, whether it is killing their scientists or whether creating centrifuges, it has been going on through the cyber attacks and all that. But the actual attack on the facility is also quite possible. I mean, because what Iran has done is Iran has also attacked on the Mossad headquarters, some of the air base and all that of Israel, and claiming that they have finished about 20 F-35s now, which is a big achievement if they have really done it. We don't know it. It's not been verified on the ground.
Okay.
But both sides are indulging in high-stake claims, and let's see how it plays out. But the fact remains is that it is a very dangerous situation, and we have reached currently the threshold. Now it will depend on the kind of response and retaliation that Israel does, because that will decide the future course of action. It might happen like in April. That happened, that both sides attacked, and then it kept quiet. Yes.
All right, definitely you said it right. The situation right now is very dangerous, but we'll have to wait and see what comes next. But it was wonderful having conversation with you, sir. Thank you for joining in on the broadcast. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Claudia Sheinbaum made history being sworn in as Mexico's first woman president. An annual solar eclipse will create a rare ring of fire phenomenon visible in parts of South America.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Swachh Bharat. As Russia and Ukraine continue to strike each other, Russia has claimed control of two more settlements in Ukraine's Kharkiv and Donetsk regions, while Ukraine has reported engaging in over 70 battles with the Russian military on the front lines. The Russian military has targeted Ukrainian military facilities over the last 24 hours, shooting down at least 31 Ukrainian drones. The ministry also said that Russian forces continue to repel Ukrainian troops attempting to invade Russia's Kursk region. Several battles are still ongoing in the directions of Kharkiv, Pokrovsk and Kurakhove. Russian troops have reached the center of Vuhledar, a bastion on strategic high ground in eastern Ukraine last Tuesday. A footage doing the rounds on social media showed Russian soldiers waving a flag from atop a bombed-out multi-story building. Smoke was seen rising over the ruins of small mining town. The regional governor of Ukraine's Donetsk region, Vadim Felashkin, he said the situation is very difficult. Russian forces reached the outskirts of Vuhledar last week and intensified retaliatory attacks. US vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and JD Vance debated each other in New York, with the pair clashing on the topics of West Asia conflict, immigration, taxes, climate change and energy. In almost 100 minutes debates between the two adversaries, the first question was related to the ongoing conflict in the West Asia, to which Democrat Walz argued that the former President Donald Trump is too unstable to be trusted at a time of crisis. His Republican opponent for the country's number 2 office, JD Vance, responded by asserting that Trump had made the world more secure during his term in office. Also, Vance questioned Harris's intention to address inflation, immigration and the economy while serving in President Joe Biden's administration. While Walz spoke on the issue of immigration, attacking Trump for pressuring Republicans in Congress to abandon a bipartisan border security bill earlier this year. With no more debates planned, the standoff allowed Walz and Vance to make their arguments on behalf of their campaigns, just as early voting ramps up across the country. U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump held a campaign rally in Wisconsin on Tuesday. Trump promised to bring peace in the world if he wins November 5th presidential election. Trump slammed his Democratic opponent Kamala Harris and said, if she gets 4 more years, the world goes up in smoke. Trump did not make new announcements regarding policy proposals, but rather highlighted plans previously outlined.
If I win, we will have peace in the world again. I guarantee we will have peace in the world again. And if Kamala gets 4 more, unthinkable, right? If she gets 4 more years, the world goes up in smoke. This world will go up in smoke. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, instead of a golden age, America will be condemned to a fate of decline, desperation, and despair. That's where we are right now. Your family finances will be permanently destroyed. Your borders will be gone forever. Tens of millions more illegal aliens will invade our cities and towns.
Claudia Sheinbaum made history, being sworn in as Mexico's first woman president. Sheinbaum was inaugurated at a ceremony in Mexico's Congress for a 6-year term lasting until 2030. Sheinbaum took the oath of office and received the presidential sash in a boisterous ceremony which marks the start of her 6-year term. Sheinbaum used her first speech as head of state to address investor concerns after the passing of a judicial reform pushed by her predecessor, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Sheinbaum vowed to ensure that Mexico's economy remains a secure destination for international investment. She reiterated the central bank would be autonomous and that a reasonable debt to GDP ratio would be maintained. Sheinbaum's government will present its first budget before November 15. Tunisia will hold the nation's first presidential elections since adopting a new constitution in 2022. The elections will be held on the 6th of this month. The winning candidate will be elected to a 5-term. Tunisians abroad will vote from 4th till 6th of October. Meanwhile, ahead of the elections, Tunisian court has sentenced presidential candidate Ayachi Zamel to 12 years in prison amid growing opposition anger against President Kais Saied, whose critics accuse him of using the judiciary to sideline his opponents. It is the 3rd prison sentence imposed on Zamel in 2 weeks. This comes just 5 days before the presidential election, in which he is one of just 2 candidates permitted to stand against Saied. 3 other high-profile opposition figures were barred. Severe weather events are causing disruption and damage around the world. At least 225 people were confirmed dead in Nepal floods, landslides, whereas death toll from powerful storm Helene topped 150 in US. Meanwhile, Taiwan is bracing up for torrential rain as Typhoon Krathon approaches. Here's a report.
Nature's fury continues to topple the lives of people worldwide. Over 200 were killed in floods, landslides in Nepal, and over 13,000 people have been rescued from the flood-affected areas so far. Relief materials, including food, are being distributed to the affected people. Moving ahead, flood situation in India's Bihar worsened after heavy discharge of water through rivers from Nepal damaged embankments. Due to overflow of rivers like Gandak, Kosi, Bagmati, and Mahananda, over 12 lakh people across 16 districts have been affected. State and national disaster response forces are engaged in relief operations. Thousands have been evacuated as Super Typhoon Krathon approaches Taiwan. The island has shut down schools and closed financial markets ahead of Krathon's expected landfall. Though the typhoon was downgraded overnight from strong to medium, but it still is expected to bring storm surges and torrential rains. The death toll from Hurricane Helene rises to over 150 in US, and millions are without power. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, and DD India correspondent Salman Haider joins us from Patna to tell us about what all is happening there. Hello. Can you just tell us what is the situation there right now?
Yes, Siddharth, situation is somewhat becoming going towards normalcy. But as I have reported earlier, 13 districts are still in very much danger of severe flood. The discharge from barrages of Kosi and Valmiki Nagar has lessened down. But now, as of now, the almost 1.2 million people are facing the fury of these floods. The shelter homes, makeshift arrangement for residing the flood affected people has been made. Community kitchens are being run for people to provide them cooked meat. A vast area has been affected, and agriculture standing crops have been damaged. In Katihar, the banana crop is very greatly damaged, and soil erosion and concrete bridges and houses have been engulfed by the raging rivers. The weather department has predicted medium to scanty rain in those 13 districts which are severely affected by the flood. North Bihar is still reeling under the severe flood, as you know. Yes, Siddharth.
Definitely, Salman. We can just see those visuals wherein, they are showing that how people are affected because of the floods. Salman, how they are managing their lives, day-to-day activities?
Actually, day-to-day activity is completely paralyzed, and they are using boats. NDRF is fulfilling their needs of requirement, be it dry rations and other things. Main problem is of cattle. Cattle feed is not available at majority of places, and the people are residing over the embankments, under the polythene sheets. So life is very miserable here, and as you see, they have lost their belongings as well as their shelters. As you know, concrete houses have been damaged greatly, washed away in rivers. A heavy flow is there. So the life is very difficult here, and the government is making all efforts to arrange their livelihood and their residence in higher places.
And some other essentials, some essential things as well. Definitely. Right now the situation is not good there, as you are telling us, and the rescue operations are going in full swing. We certainly hope that situation becomes normal as soon as possible. But thank you so much, Salman. We leave it there.
Yes.
Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Cruise passengers geared up for sailing on a 3.5-world venture after being stranded in the city for months as the ship underwent unexpected repair works. The ship, with capacity for 650 passengers, was held up for repairs due to issues with its rudders and gearbox. After a series of sea trials, the cruise finally received approval from Britain's Maritime and Coast Guard Agency to welcome passengers aboard. Travellers expressed sheer joy as they go aboard for an exquisite world tour. Uganda has formed a state-owned mining company to manage the government's equity interests in mining operations. All mining activities in the East African country were earlier being done by private firms after obtaining exploration and mining licenses. Under a new mining law approved in 2022, the government can now take a 15% fee carry stake in mining operations in the country. The move is a part of broader efforts to expand Uganda's share of value from its mineral wealth. An annual solar eclipse will create a rare ring of fire phenomenon, which will be visible in parts of South America on Wednesday. A ring of fire occurs when the moon lines up between the sun and the earth to create a solar eclipse, but does not block out sun's light entirely. The solar eclipse's path will begin the North Pacific, pass over the Andes and Patagonia regions of Latin America and finish in the Atlantic. Easter Island in Chile has become the focal point for astronomy enthusiasts this week, as the solar eclipse will dazzle the skies, attracting visitors worldwide. The eclipse will last more than 3 hours, according to NASA. However, the ring of fire phenomenon is expected to last just a few minutes. Still to come on DD India News Hour. India is paying homage to Father of Nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 155th birth anniversary today, and it will be celebrated as International Day of Non-Violence. As Swachh Bharat Mission completes 10 years, we trace the movement that has transformed. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Swachh Bharat, and a quick recap of the headlines. Tensions rise in West Asia as Iran fires missile at Israel. Netanyahu says Iran made a big mistake. Tehran says any retaliation to be met with vast destruction. Iran says it is deeply concerned as tensions rise in West Asia, issues advisory to its nationals to avoid unnecessary travel to Israel and Iran. US Vice Presidential candidates J.D. Vance and Tim Walz debate issues from immigration and abortion to economy and gun control. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges people to keep strengthening the cleanliness mission, participates in Swachh Bharat Diwas 2024. India is paying homage to Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 155th birth anniversary today. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes to Mahatma Gandhi on the occasion of his birth anniversary at Rajghat in the national capital. Speaker of the lower house of Indian Parliament Om Birla and the leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi also paid tribute to the father of the nation at Rajghat. And interfaith prayer meeting was organized at Gandhi Smriti on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti in New Delhi. On the occasion of Mahatma Gandhi's 155th birth anniversary, India continues its journey towards a cleaner and more sustainable country under the Swachh Bharat Mission. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged citizens across the country to actively participate in Shramdan for Swachhata by dedicating 1 hour to cleanliness efforts. Here's a report.
The Swachh Bharat Divas celebrations at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi were graced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, highlighting India's remarkable journey towards improved sanitation, innovative waste management, and climate resilient infrastructure. Key innovations showcased during the event included waste to energy initiatives, which have emerged as powerful solutions to the growing waste management challenges. The Swachh Bharat Divas event also saw the inauguration and foundation stone laying of multiple sanitation and cleanliness projects under key initiatives such as Govardhan, Amrit, and the National Mission for Clean Ganga. These projects are focused on waste management, recycling, and building climate resilient sanitation systems to drive India towards a cleaner future.
आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव पर आज स्वच्छता से जुड़े करीब 10,000 करोड़ रुपए के प्रोजेक्ट्स की भी शुरुआत हुई है। मिशन अमृत के तहत देश के अनेक शहरों में वाटर और सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट बनाए जाएंगे। नमामि गंगे से जुड़ा काम हो या फिर कचरे से बायोगैस पैदा करने वाले गोवर्धन प्लांट, ये काम स्वच्छ भारत मिशन को एक नई ऊंचाई पर ले जाएगा और स्वच्छ भारत मिशन जितना सफल होगा उतना ही हमारा देश ज्यादा चमकेगा।
In his address, PM Modi acknowledged the strides made by the Swachh Bharat Mission, with over 55% of villages across the nation now declared as ODF Plus model. Additionally, the construction of nearly 40,000 kilometers of rural roads using plastic waste exemplifies the government's commitment to creating a sustainable infrastructure that not only addresses waste disposal but also supports rural development. As the nation celebrates Swachh Bharat Divas, the government remains committed to empowering local governments, strengthening partnerships, and embracing innovations that drive long-term solutions for cleanliness and sanitation. The use of new technologies and recycled materials in construction will continue to pave the way for a cleaner, greener, and more resilient India. As India marches forward in its mission to create a Swachh Bharat, the call for collective action has never been more important. Citizens are encouraged to dedicate their time and efforts, starting today with an hour of Shramdan for Swachhta, to help keep the nation clean and contribute to a sustainable future. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And Dr. Hiraman Tiwari, Professor Indian Culture and History, JNU, is with us today, joining us on the broadcast. Sir, a very warm welcome to you. To begin with, 10 years of cleanliness mission, how has it transformed lives according to you and the way people started thinking about clean surroundings?
Thank you very much for having me here. As you report and you have said that this 10-year journey is a very, very momentous and long journey. And it has brought about the kind of changes that, again, your report has highlighted. And those of us and all of us living in India know the condition of hygiene and cleanliness, how bad it was. The image of this country around the world, if you travel around the country, traveled, say, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and today. So it was absolutely necessary for somebody like the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to get up and take notice of that. And what he did was something, initially, if you remember, 10 years ago, people started mocking what kind of job a Prime Minister, the chief executive of such a large country, doing, taking up a broom and asking others to do that. But if you look at it very carefully, as you, again, your archive and your report has suggested, so many things have been done, should have been done. They were done, I'm sure, earlier also. But the scale and the mission and the commitment and the industrious effort that has been put into this cleaning idea of cleanliness, hygiene, it affects almost everything. Our living standards, health, surroundings, environment, air, water, and even what is happening these days, that any new building that comes up, people keep talking whether it is a green building. And that idea, therefore, is that there is some concept and engineering in it, by which we keep it clean and our environment is clean. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, today is the 10th anniversary, as you know, to October 2014. After becoming Prime Minister, the Prime Minister took up this challenge, and he called upon celebrities and many people to do their bit, because this is symbolic for them. It inspires people, inspires those of us who live in the country, that this person is cleaning the road, cleaning the surroundings, cleaning the beaches, cleaning the streets where it was not considered to be something important for people. We want to be ourselves very clean, but we don't care what happens around us. You see, even today, it hurts us, and I'm sure you notice it. To drive around the city like Delhi, a metropolitan city, the capital city, people are going in the cars which must be 30, 40, 50 lakh, and suddenly the window is rolled down and something comes out of that vehicle, and you feel very, very upset. So, there is.
But people are aware now, sir. Sir, people are very much aware now. Since the time this mission was launched, and now they don't do it.
Yeah, because we started. I can tell you even last week, but we noticed it. It hurts us. That is the point I'm trying to make, that it has made all of us very aware that we should be disposing of the waste in a way. Some of us do it more carefully, others don't. But if the awareness is there in the country, and I just wanted to tell you one more thing, and this morning you must have noticed this 10th anniversary. All the global leaders, whether it is the World Bank President Ajay Banga or Dr. Tedros of WHO and many such personalities, and Shri Ravi Shankar and many others, Tata, all these, Ratan Tata, all of them are acknowledging the fact that something which was almost thought unachievable has been done. As you said, we don't do it anymore. We shouldn't do it anymore. And if anybody does, here I am mentioning it, discussing it. That is the change I'm talking about, that even if people do it by just laziness, we notice it and discuss it.
Definitely, people don't do it anymore. Open defecation was a major problem in the country, sir. You have to agree. And this mission...
I don't have to agree. I lived in that kind of life until 22 or 23 years of my life in the village. I've never seen a toilet in village until I left my village at the age of 22.
And this mission, sir...
I'm fully aware. As your report suggested, 55% of the villages have been declared. ODF, which is a remarkable achievement.
Definitely, and this mission aims to make India free from it. How do you see the change it has brought? Since you also mentioned that
we were discussing,
you stayed in villages.
The massive change, the change that you see, the crores of toilets that have been made. As I said, my house in the village now has 2 toilets. Of course, you build up from mud house to brick house. But the idea, therefore, that the villages will have toilets like the cities we saw was unthinkable almost, not impossible. But somehow nobody picked it up. So the change, the hygiene, particularly the hygiene in women, the kind of society that we are, open defecation free is fine. But what happens in the villages, what happened in the villages, that women would go behind the bushes or whatever, that too in the dark. Just imagine the misery that for generations, my mothers, sisters, or millions of women are going just to relieve themselves in a condition that you and I today would simply say, what is this? It is not possible that this happens. But it happened. And now after 10 years, you and I are agreeing with the fact that it doesn't really happen. People are very careful. People are aware of it. And there are economic benefits of it. There are health benefits of it.
Definitely.
And there is a benefit of an image.
Definitely. And not to forget, Swachh Bharat Mission saved 70,000 infant lives a year as per a report. But it certainly, this is a fact that since the time this mission is launched, it had significant impact on the lives of people in many ways. But we'll leave it now. We have paucity of time, sir. Thank you so much for joining in on the broadcast. It was a wonderful discussion with you.
Pleasure.
As part of the Gandhi Jayanti celebrations, various programs were organized in Lakshadweep on Wednesday. Hundreds of people, including students, women, soldiers, officials and public participated in the Prabhat Ferry, which started from the Kavarathi Secretariat in the capital island and culminated at Gandhi Square. Advisor to the Administrator Avinash Kumar, Collector Arjun Mohan, Director of Port Department Giri Shankar and other dignitaries including soldiers paid floral tribute to Gandhiji's statue. On the occasion, Avinash Kumar also flagged off the students' bicycle rally. A coast cleaning program was also organized by Nehru Yuva Kendra and NSS Kavarathi. Let's take a look at other stories making news. In a tragic incident, a private helicopter crashed in the Pimpri Chindwad area of Maharashtra's Pune district on Wednesday. 3 people, including 2 pilots and an engineer, died in the accident. The helicopter had taken off early this morning. It is suspected that the accident happened due to the foggy weather in the area. In a bid to promote local products and create income opportunities for marginalized communities, India's Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnav purchased a local product from the One Station One Product stall at Sialdah station in Kolkata on Wednesday, using the digital payment system to complete the transaction. INSV Tarini set sail on a challenging expedition of circumnavigating the globe with naval officers Lieutenant Commander Dilna K and Lieutenant Commander Rupa A as part of second edition of Navika Sagar Parikrama on Wednesday. The duo will navigate more than 21,600 nautical miles over a period of 8 months, relying solely on wind power.
We don't have any immediate support. I do have here. It's very important that you have to be.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. We will tell you what is happening in the global markets and the impact of tensions in West Asia on it. World number 1 and defending champion Yannick Sinner faces Carlos Alcaraz in China Open final clash. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Swachh Bharat. Coming to updates from the world of business, most Asian stock markets sank on Wednesday. Oil prices jumped by over $1 on Wednesday due to rising concerns that West Asia tensions could escalate, potentially disrupting crude output from the region following Iran's biggest ever military blow against Israel. Brent futures leapt $1 to 74.56 a barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate crude spiked $1.07 to $70.9. Japan's Nikkei slumped 2%, while South Korea's Kospi dropped 0.6%. However, Hong Kong's Hang Seng soared 6% as Beijing's stimulus push continued to buy sentiment. US and S&P 500 stock index futures weakened 0.15%, while Pan-European Stocks 50 futures rose 0.4%. German airline Lufthansa says it has started a new effort to revive its core airline, that as the company has been struggling as of late. And Lars Halter is with Well and joins me from Berlin. Lars, how is Lufthansa currently doing?
Thanks for having me. Well, things could look better. And just a little side note right off the bat, Lufthansa also owns Austrian Airlines, Swiss and Eurowings. And those European airlines are doing all right. Most of the company's troubles really lay with the main brand, the German flag carrier itself. It's been dealing with spiraling wage costs, with a squeeze on ticket prices and a generally tough aviation market. And it has shown some difficulties making a long overdue recovery. Now, Lufthansa CEO Carsten Spohr has even described the main airline as the German group's problem child. And he said turning it around is a must for the wider company's success. That's, of course, with the main brand being such a big part of the company's portfolio that its weakness is dragging others down too. Spohr, by the way, is in a bit of a hurry. He would really like to present some strong numbers by 2026, which will mark Lufthansa's 100th birthday.
Are Lufthansa's problems all company made, and can they be solved in-house?
Definitely been made within the company, but in fact there are a bunch of issues where Lufthansa has to wait for others to act. One item would be the high cost of flying in Europe, and especially Germany. It's actually right in their home market where the company is struggling with some of the business's highest taxes and fees. But then on a totally different note, you have the problems Lufthansa is having with Boeing. The airline has long ordered new aircraft as part of their long-planned fleet modernization. Actually, right now, they're waiting for 41 new Boeing planes to arrive, with the 777X jets on order already facing years-long delays. And now we all know about Boeing's current problems. The company had all sorts of safety issues, is in the major of a major restructuring, and has already said that they'll be facing long delays. And that's expensive for Lufthansa too. It forces the airline to keep using the older Airbus planes, which the group had hoped to retire before the pandemic, actually. Those aircraft, of course, use more fuel, they're more expensive to fly, and they're limiting the company's ability to expand services on profitable routes.
All right, Lars, thank you so much for your assistance. And on to sports now. India continued to assert its top position in the ongoing cycle of World Test Championship by fighting against the odds to complete a series sweep against Bangladesh. India continues to sit at the top with 8 wins in 11 matches with 98 points and a point percentage of 74.24%. Australia and Sri Lanka remain the closest competitors to challenging India's dominance at the top. The baggy greens continue to breathe down India's neck in the second spot with 90 points in 12 matches and a point percentage of 62.5. Meanwhile, Babar Azam resigned as Pakistan's white ball captain on Tuesday, saying he wanted to focus on his playing role in the future matches. Azam's resignation came a week before Pakistan's 3-match test series against England, starting in Multan on October 7, in which he was named in the 15-man squad. Pakistan also has a white ball tour of Australia next month, where Azam was due to lead the side, but now the Pakistan Cricket Board will have to name a new skipper. Azam, who turns 30 in a fortnight, was sacked as captain of all 3 formats in November last year, following Pakistan's first-round exit from the ODI World Cup held in India. Italian world number 1 Yannick Sinner is facing Spain's Carlos Alcaraz in a mouth-watering clash of China Open final. Top seed Sinner made fight hard for his place against China's world number 96 Bu, where the world number 1 eventually came out on top 6-3, 7-6 in match lasting 2 hours and 7 minutes. Meanwhile, world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz has moved into his first final in Beijing. Alcaraz earned his spot with 7-5, 6-3 win over Russia's Daniil Medvedev. Coco Gauff advanced to the China Open quarterfinals on Tuesday after Japanese 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka retired from the match due to a lower back injury. The American 4th seed had lost the opening set but fought back to take the second before Osaka called time on the match in Beijing with score at 3-6 and 6-4. The 20-year-old will face Ukraine's Yulia in the quarterfinal clash on Thursday. As the festive season approaches, communities across India are bustling with the preparation of Durga Puja, one of the most significant and celebrated festivals for the Hindu community. In fact, the Durga Puja of Kolkata, West Bengal is now one of the UNESCO heritage property.
The preparation for Durga Puja itself is a captivating ritual that precedes the grand celebrations and festivities. The journey begins with the artisans carefully crafting the idols over weeks by burning the midnight oil. In a small workshop, the magic begins as artisans prepare to create the idol of Goddess Durga. Every detail matters as the artisans pour their skill and devotion to shape the idol of the goddess. In Assam too, preparations are in full swing, with the greatest festival of Durga Puja being just round the corner. Artisans are seen giving final touches to the idol of Goddess Durga.
I have been making Indian goddess Durga idol for the past 15 years now. Earlier, my grandfather used to make the idols of the goddess. Now I'm carrying forward his legacy. We make idols of Goddess Durga and export them across the state. It takes approximately 10 to 15 days to make the mesmerizing idol of goddess of power, strength and protection.
Artisans are working round the clock now, giving the final touches to the stunning idol of Goddess Durga. With inputs from Momita Biswas, Bureau Report, DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Swachh Bharat Mission from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.